ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We will read the four mantras, number 5, 6, 7, 8, together. Yastvavijnanavan bhavati
यस्त्वविज्ञानवान् भवति
tena manasa sada. No, idhukku munnadi. Ayuktena manasa sada
युक्तेन मनसा सदा
yavashyani
तस्येन्द्रियाणि
तस्येन्द्रियाणि
वश्यानि
स्वायुसारथेः
दृष्ट्वा इव सारथेः
यस्तु विज्ञानवान् भवति
यस्तु विज्ञानवान् भवति
तेन मनसा सदा
युक्तेन मनसा सदा
तस्येन्द्रियाणि वश्यानि
तस्येन्द्रियाणि वश्यानि
सदश्वा इव सारथेः
सदस्वा इव सारथेः
यस्त्वविज्ञानवान् भवति
यस्त्वविज्ञानवान् भवति
अमनस्कः सदा शुचिः
अमनस्कः शुचिः
न स तत्पदमाप्नोति
न स तत्पदमाप्नोति
संसारं चाधिगच्छति
संस्कारं चाधिगच्छति
यस्तु विज्ञानवान् भवति
यस्तु विज्ञानवान् भवति
अमनस्कः सदा शुचिः
समनस्कः सदा शुचिः
स तु तत्पदमाप्नोति
स तु तत्पदमाप्नोति
यस्माद् भूयो न जायते
यस्मात् भूयो न जायते
Good evening. Your attention please. Train number 16320.
We looked at the first two of these four, that the Sarathi, which is equated to the intellect, as long as that has control, has the reins firmly in its grip, has suzerainty over the mind and senses, everything will be okay. And when it is not, you will have all kinds of other problems. See, in any journey, and if we equate this to journey as this Drishtanta thus, first and foremost, one has to know where one wants to go. If you look at this ultimate goal, which is really the only goal, all human goals, although Shastra divides us into 4 types of Purushartha: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Really, they are only 2. There is every other end that one works for, all humanity works for it, could fall into one of these 3: Dharma, Artha, or Kama. Dharma, in order to earn punya, so that one can enjoy Artha Kama later. Artha Kama, so that one can enjoy short-lived temporary sukha here. But they're all the same. We know that commonality between all of them is anityatvam and atripti. Against that, if one has clarity that there is a possibility of moksha, then it becomes a different type of end. In fact, it is the only end. Every other end you take doesn't have an end. It just goes on and on and on in a circular way. There is nothing final about any of those. That's why he said anityatva. There is only one human goal. And after some studies, some contemplative thinking, that becomes clear. Although it becomes clear, the pressure to keep the other goals going remains. For bulk of humanity, that moksha as a goal never becomes clear. At least not in their current lifetime. For those when it does become clear, it becomes difficult to say my moksha is clear, therefore other goals are not important to me. I don't care about them. It becomes very difficult to say. But Shastra recognizes that. Shastra only says all the other goals, give them priority. Let them come. If you get, even if it is anitya, a temporary sukha, enjoy it. But if moksha is one among many goals, there is a problem. And if it's a travel, equated to a travel, I have many goals. Which way will you go? You take the car out in the morning. What will you tell the driver? Go to the office. Simple goal. But if you don't know, if there are so many goals, I also want to go to the market, I also want to go to the office, I also want to go to the park, I also want to go to the concert, all at the same time, what instruction can you give to the Sarathi? That Sarathi is our buddhi. And therefore, where will he take the car or the ratha? He doesn't know, you don't know. Take any path, go somewhere and find that that is not the end you wanted, come back. But the good thing is, every time that happens, once I've embarked on this quest, somewhere in the back of the mind, there's very clear goal that eventually I would like to get moksha. Right now, I'm a bit uncertain, like Arjuna. So I will go somewhere, get some little sukha, but then I discover that that sukha is not really what I want. I come back to the path. So my vehicle has gone off the path elsewhere, taken a detour, come back on the path. Sometimes that happens, no? You take the car and go, and on the main road you're going, there's something happening. There's a morcha or there's a repair work going on, diversion. But it comes back. How long will the diversion be? How distractive it will be? How much delay it will cause? Will depend upon it. But it will come back, provided one is got set in that path. Shastra tells you, once you have taken a step in this path, despite the distraction, one comes back. So it goes back to the same thing originally, that clarity that moksha is what I want should be there. That is my overriding, overarching goal. Everything else comes and goes. You go in the path, go elsewhere, come back to the path, maybe behind and start over again. We all do that. Because when you get those other goals, either you reach the goal or you don't reach the goal. There are two possibilities. If you reach the goal, then you recognize that that is not the end, you want something more. It happens once, twice, thrice, 4 times. Then one recognizes that I'm wasting my time. Pariksha lokan karmachatan brahmana. Or if after 1, 2, 3, 4 times, you don't get the goal. Sure prescription for anger and frustration. Then also one can recognize that that is not what I want. What every human being wants is to gain moksha. So you pray to Ishvara, help me do this. But you sneak in additional prayer. While in the process of getting this, please make it comfortable for me. Let my body not go through pain. Let my mind not go through pain. But really, I only want moksha. Let me get these small pleasures in between. But I have not lost sight of moksha. If that clarity is there, that what I really want is only one goal, one human goal, only one thing that everybody is looking for is moksha, then the first step is clear. One, get into the car and tell the driver, go here. The Sarathi now takes over. The Buddhi takes over. And this becomes the most crucial part of our entire journey, because you have handed over controls to your Sarathi, the Buddhi. If the Buddhi is in good shape, it has suzerainty over the mind, which is fickle, which has the reins in its grip. or if it's the boat which has the oar in its grip, or the sail in its grip, or the steering wheel in its grip, and therefore has total charge of the senses, which have nothing to do with any goal. We just go where they are made to go. If they are allowed free rein, they will go where the sense object is. Sense object may not be on the path. But if they are told by gripping the lagam and saying, okay, keep going straight, turn right, or if the steering wheel, taking control of the steering wheel. But if, on the other hand, the boatman loses the oars, then you'll be drifting in the ocean all the time. There's no way you reach your destination. If the sarathi or buddhi does not have the lagam in his hand in firm grip, you will drift. Have you sometimes seen on the road people going in a lane, suddenly they drift into another lane? I'm sure all of us have had the experience. No control. Either the thoughts have gone elsewhere and you're not watching what you're doing, or you're trying to fiddle with the music system, trying to switch on some thing. Thoughts have gone there, no control. That is what is a possibility. If that sarathi is in good shape, it's got good control over the steering wheel or the oar or the sail or the reins, one continues to travel in the direction one wants to go. So step one, clarity of where you want to go. There I said, we are very lucky. We can always say in between, oh, little bit I will take a diversion, enjoy this and come back, but I'll be on the path. Fine. You'll be delayed a little bit. But if you can even avoid that, that is vairagyam. All the time we've been studying about vairagyam, that is vairagyam. You know, somebody is going on the road, clear this thing, I've got to go to so and so place. In between, there is an accident. It is not even a nice thing. Unless you can do something to help, if you want, the person wants to go there and do saying, let me take some video pics, I'll post it on my social media. Distraction, unnecessary distraction. And you see this happening all the time. If you happen to be a doctor and you want to stop and help who has got hurt, fine, I can understand. That Yajamana Buddhi combination, Yajamana clarity of the goal, and Buddhi total charge of the path and not getting distracted. So these next two mantras highlight this. How does the Sarathi operate? How does the Sarathi in the Ratha operate? How does the Buddhi in the human form operate? And what happens if it doesn't operate the way we would like it to operate? So in the first one of these, we say, Yahatu avijnanavan bhavati. Avijnanavan bhavati. That either the Sarathi has not understood what the Yajamana wants. The Sarathi wants to stop to have a cup of tea on the way. That's not what the Yajamana wants. The Yajamana wants to get to the destination. Sarathi has not understood either the destination or the urgency with which he wants to get there. Therefore, he is a avijnanavan. No clarity. And so one side is the communication with the Yajamana. It's not that the buddhi is separate from thing, but really, if your goal is clear, the buddhi has to accept that goal, saying that's where I want to go. And therefore be decisive. And to do that, in the case of the Ratha Sarathi, the lagam must be firmly in his hand. If it is not, even abhijnanavan, then what happens? Amanaskaha. Mindless. Literal translation, amanaskaha. Means mind does what it wants. Lagam is not his hand. Oars have fallen into the ocean. You are not going to get to where you want to go. And because it has fallen into the ocean, the lagam is fallen off, there is ashuchi. That ashuchi is where there is that telling the mind, this is where I want to go, don't distract, don't go around saying, I like this, let me go here. And taking charge of that mind. Therefore, that amanaskaha, Shraddha ashuchihi. What happens in a case like that? Saha tat padam na apnoti. The goal where you want to get is tat padam. Tat padam is what the Guru unfolds for us. Tat padam darshitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tat, many places you will see, even in the Gita, indicates everything, Ishvara. Where you want to go is the Tat Padam. Why? Tat Tvamasi. You have that understanding, the clarity, what does that one Mahavakya mean? That Tat Padam, that I am the Tat Padam, will never get be clear. Saha na Tat Padam apnoti. If you reach the Tat Padam, that is great, because then you are free of everything. That is moksha. The person is a mukta purusha. Else what happens? I said there is no other path, there is nowhere else to go. Otherwise you are already in samsara. There is nowhere else to go. Then you are in samsara, you stay in samsara. My own reaction to this is, sooner or later, next janma, 2 janmas later, 100 janmas later, 1,000,000 janmas later, you will get there. But till then, you are in the samsara. Samsara means what? The indriyas responding to indriya vishaya, which always means sukha dukkha, sukha dukkha, sukha dukkha. Or like Swamiji like to say, it always means sukha, dukkha, 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 sukha, 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 dukkha, 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 dukkha. That is samsara. That is samsara. So that one remains in the samsara. Here he says, samsaram cha adhigacchati. Although literally it means he goes to samsara, he doesn't go anywhere. He is in samsara. He doesn't have to go anywhere. So samsaram adhigacchati. He does not reach the destination, tatpadam, from where there is no punaravritti. But if you don't reach there, you are in the circular motion, round and round and round. It's not even a merry-go-round. It's like a roller coaster, going round and round, up and down, up and down. It's what life is. That is samsara. Swamiji called it in one of our class, I remember, a merry-go-round. More than a merry-go-round. Up, down, up, down, up, down. That is samsara. So the person who does not have a intellectual ability, a discrimination, a vairagya, discrimination what? Atma Anatma Viveka, will keep going round in circles in samsara. Very nice Drishtanta. There's really nothing much to write by Bhashyakara, but he writes a few words, few sentences to explain this. We will read that. Can you put that on, please? Yahatu avijnanavan bhavati.
Avijnanavan bhavati.
Jnanavan, we said is, Bhashyakara has not explained it, but essentially, one who either doesn't understand the destination to go to, does not have the discrimination, is weak, gives in to temptations, there is very little vairagya. Such a person, avijnanavan bhavati. On the one hand, that is, given inputs are not understood. I have a very good example. When we built this ashram 10 years ago, Geetama had a lot of ideas. Those of you who visited this will know how many unusual ideas she's come up with. And these had to be conveyed to the engineer. There's no way the engineer would have understood any of those directly from Geetama. So I had to play the role of the Sarathi here. Absorb what you want, not always correctly, but for most periods, and translate it into a language that the engineer understands. Not always successfully. I remember there was a case of building a sump. And he had started digging for the sump smack in front of the main gate. And I didn't partly my fault, I guess I didn't pay attention. When Geetama came and saw, she hit the roof. How can you have a sump right in front of the gate? So the whole thing had been done. We have to redo the whole thing, fill in that, move that elsewhere, dig it again. So that is the role of the Sarathi, the Buddhi. Has to understand where you want to go. The Sarathi has to understand where the Yajamana wants to go. The Rathi, who is in the Ratha, where he wants to go. He himself has doubts. So he himself has a problem conveying that. Buddhi has to understand it and make sure that the rest of the system within the Ratha goes in that direction. What a crucial role. It's like in the army, you have the JCOs. Those of you who've been in the army will know. The officers have the idea, strategy, this is what we should do, but to be executed by the soldiers. And therefore, the JCO has to understand from the officer what is to be done, make sure that the soldiers follow that. Similar here. So Buddhi plays that role. Therefore, it is not only is avijnanavan bhavati, but it also amanaskaha. Mindless. Doesn't have charge of the mind, the reins have fallen off. Or Buddhi is distracted. Doesn't see where the Ratha is going. Because there's no grip on the whole situation. Apragrihita manaskaha. Without taking charge of the manas. There is no suzerainty over the mind. Mind, we know, is full of distractions. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Go here, no, go there. All that has to be taken charge of by making sure that the reins are firmly in control. Reins or oars or steering wheel or whatever you want to use as an example. Therefore, what happens? One, the instruction from the Yajamana is not clear or not fully understood. There is no ability to direct the mind and the senses to go in that direction. What happened? Saha tataha eva ashuchihi sada eva. What is ashuchi for the mind? If the Sarathi lets go of the lagam or the boatman lets go of the oar, then we know that senses will go where sense objects attract them. So what will happen? What will be the attraction? Raga. Many places we've seen that Shaucham, internal Shaucham is not being controlled by Raga Dvesha. Here also more or less the same meaning will come. Tataha saha eva ashuchihi sada eva. Because there's no lagam directing the horses to go where you want to go. They will go where they want. Sada, all the time. It is not on-off system. Saha tataha eva ashuchihi sada bhavati. Shall we go back to reading the Na saharati
न सह रथी
पूर्वोक्तम अक्षरम यत् परम
पूर्वोक्तमक्षरं यत्परं
पदम आपनोति
पदम् आप्नोति
तेन सारथिना.
तेन सारथिना.
That Rathi, who is Rathi? One who has the Ratha. Rathin is your Pratipadikam. So Rathi, that Rathi, the one who is Yajamana, Saha tat purvoktam aksharam yat param padam na apnoti. We saw it earlier, it had been said, no? Yahas Seturihi Ajananam Aksharam Brahmatat Yat Param. Second verse, second mantra. That Purvoktam Aksharam Padam, the Yajamana cannot reach. Na Yat Param Padam Apnoti Tena Sarathina. Tritiya. With that Sarathi, Sarathi cannot take you there because Sarathi is Avijnanavan, Amanaskaha. He's allowed the mind to be Ashuchihi. Therefore, by that Sarathi, the Jiva will not be able to reach where it wants to reach. Therefore, moksha is not available. And the last part of this mantra, samsaram chadhigacchati cha adhigacchati. So it's a nasa tatpadam apnoti, to which Bhashyakara said, yat param padam na apnoti tena sarathina. By that sarathi, you cannot, with that sarathi's help, you cannot reach this padam because he is not taking you there. He doesn't understand. Either he doesn't understand the end you want to reach, or he has no ability to take charge of those that have to take you forward. It's a nice example. So he can't reach there. Okay, then what will happen to that person? If we can't reach that tat padam, what will happen to that person? He says, na kevalam.
न केवलम्
न केवलं कैवल्यं नाप्नोति
न केवलं कैवल्यं नाप्नोति
संसारञ्च
संसारञ्च
जन्म मरण लक्षणं
जन्म मरणलक्ष्मणम्
अधिगच्छति.
अधिगच्छति.
Not only does he not reach, न केवलं कैवल्यं आपनोति. There's a double negative here. Not only does he not reach kaivalyam, na kevalam kaivalyam. Kaivalyam is moksham. And there's a kevala. Both have the same root origin. Not only does he not reach kaivalyam moksha, he continues to flounder in samsara. Janma marana lakshanam adhigacchati. Samsara is characterized by what? Janma marana lakshanam. And dukkham. Some dukkham, some sukham, some dukkham, some sukham. But again and again and again, whole samsara is characterized by janma, marana, janma, marana, janma, marana. So not only does it not reach kaivalyam, it keeps going round and round. But once that goal clarity is there, once the buddhi is in, and buddhi can be trained, incidentally. We can train the buddhi. Is clear about the goal and has taken charge of all the other parts of the sharira, then there may be some small distractions here and there, but you will always come back to the path. Achirenadi gacchati, Bhagavad Gita says. Sooner or later you will get there. Okay, really, the whole thing starts. The first verse is that buddhi which is avijnanavan. What happens if it is the other way around? If the buddhi is vijnanavan, some nice thing should happen, no? If buddhi is vijnanavan. So he says, yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaskas sada shuchihi. Exact opposite of what we saw earlier. Yahatu vijnanavan bhavati. Earlier we said avijnanavan bhavati. And yet amanaskas sada ashuchihi. Here it is samanaska sada shuchihi. With that kind of discriminative intellect, which is strong, which has the ability to control the direction in which the ratha goes, sahatu tat padam apnoti. Earlier we said, as mantra said, nasa tat padam apnoti. Here it says, sahatu tat padam apnoti. And then add one more interesting thing. There we said, doesn't get to tat padam, but remains in samsara, in the cycle of birth and death. Here, yasmad bhuyo na jayate. That's it. There's no coming back. Having reached that tatpadam, there is no rebirth. Nothing happens after that. That's it. How do you say that? Because that is the understanding. Why are you saying tatpadam apnoti? It means only that, the understanding that the I that I had assumed I to be, which is part of the same samsara, which I keep going round and round, is incorrect. The I that now I have understood, very difficult sentence. If I ask myself who is understood, you really have to find answers to that question. Because there is no I left. There is no I left. The I, the individuality that we are assigning to ourselves, is the error. So I have no other way of saying this. I have recognized there is no I. I am Chinmayam, Chaitanya Swarupam, Satchit Ananda Swarupam. Therefore, that I is not an individual I anymore. There is no individuality, no ahankara. Once that is clear, there is no question of coming back. Yahatu vijnanavan samanaskas sada shuchihi bhavati sahatu yasmad bhuyaha na jayate saha tatpadam apnoti. So, on the one hand, the one who, without the discriminative thinking, without strength in the clarity and strength to drive one to the goal that one wants. There's a lot of issues here. There is a doubt, like Arjuna had. Will it happen that I don't get that goal of moksha? And in the process, you told me I should have discrimination, I should have vairagya, therefore I had vairagya and gave up all the ice creams and mangoes that I would otherwise have got. Will I become ubhaya-brashta? Will I be a loser both ways? At least this I know, a bird in hand, that I'm not sure. Always doubts in my mind. If that clarity is there, then you enjoy this, it doesn't make a difference. But if there's doubt there and you enjoy this, you could get stuck here. And it is not ice cream and mango, only two examples that come to mind immediately. But if you look at where one could get stuck in good things, I'm not saying all bad things. You could get stuck in Sanskritam. Vyakaranam is so fascinating. You could get stuck there. You could get stuck in music. It's elevating. But that's it, we're stuck there. You know the story of the salt dolls. Have you heard the story? I'm sure we've discussed that also. There were a bunch of salt dolls which went looking for what is the ultimate goal that they should reach. And they went, they saw some meadowland which was beautiful, wonderful. The climate was, the weather was absolutely superb, nice cool breeze blowing. They stopped there for a while. And then some of them said, okay, this is nice, but this is not what we want. Because season will change. But some of them said, no, this is just perfect. Let's just stay here put. Some others decided to go forward. They went and went and went, and they climbed a mountain. On top of the mountain was just awesome. The vista was like a wonderful sight in front of them. And they stayed there for a little while. Some of the dolls again decided, this is it. I don't want to go anywhere. But some others said, no, this is not the ultimate. So they went ahead. Down the mountain, the other side, they came to the beach. And the beach was just superb. Lovely white sand, clean, unlike the beaches you find these days, full of plastic. No plastic, no nothing. It was beautiful. So they stopped there for a while. And some of them decided to stay back. Some said, no, this is not the end. And ultimately, one salt doll walked on into the sea, went to the ocean. And what will happen when a salt doll walks into the ocean? No more salt doll, no more individual doll. It just is the same as Ishvara, as the ocean. It's a story in the Vedanta. We could get stuck. Could get stuck in nice things. Some people may get stuck in unfortunate things. It will only delay the whole process even longer. But even if we get stuck in Sanskrit Vyakarana or music or something, there also we'll be stuck. Like these dolls which stopped at the meadow, stopped at the top of the mountain, stopped at the beach. You won't get where you want to go. Illustrates what we're talking about. Where you want to go, clarity is the key. So one who has a discriminative intellect and is strong, what happens? Yastu dvitiyaha vijnanavan.
Yastu dviti.
Dvitiyaha sarathi. We sometimes say the other sarathi. The sarathi is getting stuck because he doesn't have either the understanding or the strength, and therefore avijnanavan. The other sarathi, on the other hand, dvitiya sarathi, vijnanavan bhavati. All that we talked about the other Sarathi. This Sarathi is not. This Sarathi is discriminative. This Sarathi has Vairagya. This Sarathi has certain amount of Viveka. He is a Vijnanavan. See, Jnanavan, Vijnanavan, similar words. Like Buddhiman indicates a person who has a type of buddhi. Everybody has some buddhi. Nobody can be there without a buddhi. Everybody has buddhi. But why do you call some people buddhiman and some others you don't call buddhiman? They all have buddhi. Because that buddhiman refers to the one who has the buddhi which is relevant to what you're talking about. Like a dhanavan, one who has wealth. A miser can never be a dhanavan. So here also Vijnanavan. So our Bhashyakara says, Vijnanavat Sarathi Upetaha. The Sarathi who is endowed with discrimination, endowed with the necessary strengths. So Vijnanavat Sarathi Upetaha. Who is that? Rathi. The Rathi who has a Sarathi, who is a Vijnanavan. Remember, all the time we are comparing this to the Sharira. In the Sharira is the Jiva, and the Jiva depends upon the Buddhi, the intellect, to help take the entire system to where you want to go. So that Rathi, the Yajamana, has become Vidwan. Vidwan iti etat. Because the Buddhi will take you in the right direction. What is that goal that you want to set? What moksha is what? It's only jnanam. That jnanam makes that person a vidwan. A vidwan is one, in this context, who has understood there is no individuality. Everything is the same. There is only Chaitanyam. Ekameva advitiya Chaitanyam. That vidwan. And he is, can you put this back on? Yuktamanaha.
Yuktamanaha.
Amanaskaha.
Samanaskaha.
One who is Yuktamanaha. Yuktam manam yasya. Manaha yasya. Properly connected. Saha tataha. Tataha eva. Sada shuchihi.
Sada Shuchihi.
All that we said in the Ashuchi, opposite of that. Sada shuchihi. That because there is discrimination and because there is vairagyam, there is clarity, one does not get swayed by the ragadveshas which tell to pull the mind here and there. So therefore, sada shuchihi. What happens to such a rathi? Satu tatpadamapnoti yasmad aptat
Yasmad Bhattat.
aptat padat
Padat.
aprachyutah.
Aprachyutaha.
Again, aprachyutah san
Aprachyutaha.
bhuyah
Bhuyaha.
punah पुनः
पुनः
न जायते संसारे
न
न
जायते
जायते
संसारे
संसारे
he indeed tat padam apnoti. The same tat padam with the non-discriminative sarathi buddhi cannot gain that tat padam. This other sarathi ensures that the entire system, the jiva, reaches tat padam. Tat padam apnoti. Having reached that tat padam, yasmat aptat padat. Yasmat padat aptat. Having gained that, having reached there, it is, here is where you have to understand the difference between having reached and having understood. Having reached means having understood. There is no reaching, there is no going anywhere. Yasmat aptat padat aprachyutah. Chu dhatu. It's never disconnected. Aprachyutah san. It is there. Bhuyaha. Bhuya means punaha. Again, na jayate samsare. Is never part of the samsara again. Never in the samsara again. Is never born in the samsara again. There is no birth, there is no death, there is nothing. That is what is understood. There is no such thing available. It is all the perspective or point of view that I have been working on from within the samsara and assuming a lot of things. Once that clarity is there, I have understood there is no birth, there is no death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janane jatare sayanam. Iha samsare dukkha sare.
Bahudustare Kripaya Pahe Pahi Murare.
Get me out of the samsara. And this Sarathi, who has got discrimination, who's got the strength, will ensure that the ratha is taken to where it has to go. So all the way through, from the point that the rathi says, I want to go to a place, through this entire process, he will get there. If that clarity is there, the place I want to go to is moksha. Place I want to go to is that this understanding jnanam I need to gain is moksha. You will get there. Very nice drishtanta. We can look at the drishtanta and say, okay, this is my ratha. I am the rathi inside. And in the ratha is my sarathi and my various indriyas controlled by manas, which is in turn controlled by the sarathi, the buddhi. Where do I want to take it to? I thought one of the best drishtantas I have seen to get clarity on this subject. These two verses, Bhashyakara introduces by adding one line at the beginning of the previous mantra. Tatra.
Tatra.
No, verse 7. First line of the Bashyam. 7. go up, maybe it is there. No, Aviveki Samprapti. No, 7 only. Oh, it is not there in this, but there in that. But there is a introduction by Bhashakara. Tatra Purvoktasya
Tatra Purvoktasya
Avijnanavatah
Avijnanavatah
Buddhisarathehe
Buddhisarathehe
Idam Phalamaha.
Idam Phalamaha.
The first mantra we saw in this today was the Avijnanavan Sarathi. So Buddhi Sarathi. That combination. Buddhi, when you look at the Drashtanta as the Sharira, and Sarathi, if you look at the Drishtanta as the Ratha, that Buddhi Sarathi idam phalamaha. What is the phalam? Avijnanavan Buddhi keeps us in samsara. And Vijnanavan Buddhi, whence the destination is clear as moksha, helps us gain Tat Padam, from which there is no return. What is the Tat Padam? We've talked a little bit about it, but mantra itself clarifies in the further mantras, which we will look at tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari